Hi everyone, welcome to the channel for another live stream. I'm just quickly getting things set up and we're going to start picking colors very soon. I'm running a bit late because I had to read a bit of a story to my youngest. But now they're going off to bed so we can do our live stream, which is really, really great. Okay, so we are doing this beautiful deer page in Hanna Karlzon's The Forest Kingdom, and we are going to be theming it with an autumn color palette. So I'm going to be pulling out pencils for this page. I'm going to zoom you in so we can have a better look at the picture and get ready for our live. Hey Val, how are you? It's good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to be using Polychromos because I know you like those and they do work really beautifully on this paper. And I haven't decided yet how to do the mirror, but I think we'll leave that last so I can have a good think. And I have my swatch book out. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm just getting the color palette I put up on the community post out. So we're going to need some light grays, some whites for the mushrooms. Maybe we'll use white. Okay, so I'm looking through here and I'm thinking that we could use possibly a green gold. We will need an Indian red. And some sanguine, possibly even some terracotta as well. So let's pull those out. And I think we'll go for the light yellow ochre as well. I like that color. And these can be some of our colors for the deer. Oh, and we should use some burnt sienna as well. So we'll see how many of these I actually use. I just want to have a few out for, and then I think some Dyk Brown. And I'm going to go slow with this one and just build the layers up. Ah, there we go. And then I'll pull out more colors as we go. So I'm just going to put this away. All right, so if I move it up like that, and we'll work on the deer first. Hi Cindy, how are you? It's good to have you. How are you and the family feeling? I hope you're all feeling better and recovered. Okay, so I'm going to take my terracotta and I'm going to go over the top of the deer and work my way down the leg. And this will be my lighter orange. And I think what we'll do is we'll go over the dots and we'll just Posca, white Posca for the dots when we're finished. I think that would be a good way of doing this. And then I'm also on my laptop, I'm bringing up photos on Pixabay of deer, so I can just see from the angle where the color is hitting them, because I just want to get the shades in more or less the right direction. And I'm not being too particular about which deer it is. It's just looking for, you know, those orangey browns. Sometimes Pinterest has better photos. So you can also do that as well, because that's also a great way to just practice, you know, where do your dark shadows go, where do the light shadows go, and that sort of thing. But yeah. Hi Sigrid, how are you? Welcome, it's great to have you. Hope you had a good week. Okay, so I'm going to start over here, and this is with my terracotta, and we're just going to lightly bring this color in. Now, if you don't like the texture that has been put in by Hanna Karlzon, you can always take a white Posca pen and just white it all out. I'm just going to ignore it and put in my layers, and we'll cover it up with the color. Hi Kylie, it's great to have you. Wow, 5:13 in the morning. Oh my goodness. You're up really early. Wow, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. So here behind the ear, depending on which direction your light source is, but so if it was coming from the right hand side, you wouldn't have as much of a shadow. And if you go from the left, you would have. I'm not feeling up to thinking about light source today, so I'm just gonna color it. $2:15 in Texas. That sounds like a reasonable hour. Nice afternoon after lunch. Great way to spend the afternoon. So I'm coming here. I might erase that if I decide I don't like it. So, and it's 9:15 p.m. in Italy. I love that the internet brings us all together from all over the world. Right, so I'm going to bring some of this down here. And along here. I actually was thinking about Forest Kingdom and Tales from the Midnight Masquerade. So which one would be your favorite? I think this one is my favorite. Oh, and has anyone got the new Tales from the City in the Sky or something like that? Is that what it's called? I don't remember the full title of Hanna Karlzon's latest book. Yes, Val, we could go for an unconventional color palette. I'm not as good at coming up with those. So when I've got a page in Magical Dawn, I started with my mom, and she's really good at just going for colors, and I'm more boring in that way. She's much better at being out there. What we could do with the antlers is you could flip them. We could make you could do brown leaves and a muddy red or a brownish red bark. Yes, we could ask my mom for suggestions. I'm sure she would like that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in some of that Sanguine because it's a much richer orange, and we're gonna just start building it up. Hi Carly, how are you? Oh cool, Kylie. Do you enjoy colouring postcards? I think I've seen a tutorial, not a tutorial, a flip through of Hanna Karlzon's latest book, but I'd have to go check. Her style is very unique. I don't think Amazon UK has her book yet. And I'm also waiting for Amazon to get Rita Berman's newest book. As far as I know, that hasn't come onto Amazon yet, or it was and now it's not. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sigrid, I am in the UK. Oh, that makes sense, Kylie. I'm sorry to hear that you're in a lot of pain, and I really hope the surgery goes well for you on Tuesday. I will definitely be thinking of you and sending you get well vibes and all of that. That can't be easy. All right, so I want to bring in a bit more of my terracotta. And I think this part of the foot is going to be quite brown. And then I'm going to bring in some of the light ochre. And all these colors work really well together, so it will make blending them really easy. Whereas if you were to take some of if the colors are further away from each other, they can be a bit more tricky to blend. So if I was to take the light yellow ochre and my Van Dyk Brown, I'd have to be quite careful how I blend it so that it really blends smoothly. But when you have the shades as close as these, it really does help with your blending. Belle, I'm not coloring the deer overly realistically. I wanted a autumn palette for this one, because I really just want to color autumn, and with the amount of whips I'm going to be doing, I'm probably not going to have a lot of autumn pages to do this autumn. So the mushrooms and the antlers will not be colored realistically, but when I looked at this page, I did want a brown, well, this sort of color scheme for the deer. Sigrid, I am using Polychromos, and possibly when we get to the face, we could I might do something different there. I don't have a lot of experience with animals, so I tend to lean more towards familiarity with until I get comfortable, and then I can branch out. I'll just, as I'm coloring, I'll think about the mushrooms. What I thought would be quite nice was to do something different with the mirror. And I use photos a lot for reference, because I'll get an idea in my head, and if I can't visualize it, I won't know how to color it. So looking on Pinterest or Pixabay or even Instagram for visuals of what I've got in my mind helps me to see how to do what I've got planned. So for example, if I wanted to color this very different, like let's say I wanted to color the mirror as a nebula, I would need to pull up a picture of a nebula in space to be able to see the colors and then work out how I would put it on. So it just helps me. But yeah, I've got a few ideas forming in my brain. So it's not going to be, you know, terribly realistic. I did once do, though, I was, when I first started coloring, I did a picture, well, half a picture of a portrait, and the portrait had leaves on it, so I was coloring those leaves gold. I was experimenting a bit there. Hi JC, it's great to see you. Hope you are well. Kylie, that's exciting that you're trying to start your own channel. It's really exciting. Go for it, you know. It can be quite rewarding to make videos, put them up. So let me know your channel and I'll pop over and give you some support. So I want a bit more of the sanguine now. Is anybody interested in learning how to do fur? The basic ideas behind fur? I'm just going to use some burnt sienna. Okay, we can definitely then do a fur tutorial. This is the Dyk Brown. The first step to coloring fur is to place down a base layer. What you would do is something very similar to what I've just done, is you would put down in pencil your different colors and tones, and then you would go over it with a flicking motion. I think maybe we should do a dog or a cat, because they have slightly longer fur than a deer, or we could even do a mouse, because giraffes, deer, elephants, they all have very, very fine hair, and some of them quite short hair. So you have to practice keeping your fur strokes very short. Otherwise it's going to look like a woolly mammoth or a woolly deer or that sort of thing. Which, I mean, if you want to, you could sell it like that. Yes, we could do a fox. A fox would have the similar colors and a bit more white. I think there is some foxes in Twilight Garden by Maria Trolle. I'll just have to have a look. I think Ken Matsuda has a fox in one of his book, in his coloring book. Now I'm back to the Burnt Sienna. And I want the walnut brown. Sorry, not the walnut brown, the Van Dyk brown. And I'm going to bring the Indian red. And I'm going quite lightly because I want to give it a touch of red. And then I'm going to bring in my green gold. And I'm going to use that green gold further down here just to brighten some of this up. So I wanted to know who else is interested in monochrome coloring. Is it your thing? Would you like to see how it's done? So I'm going to come in with my Burnt Sienna. Okay, cool. Val, Carly, and JC. Are there any specific colors you would like to see? I've seen monochromatic in blue, and I think they did use a bit of white to just lighten the blue. Oh, thanks, Cindy. Blues or greens? Okay. You know, one of the things, shades of blues and greens that I actually need to practice is the vibrant greens or the vibrant blues. So like aqua blue, peacock green, true green, those very, or even emerald green, because they're very vibrant. And I tend to shy away from them. Monochrome is one color, so you pick one color for a page and then you do the entire page that color, not necessarily with one pencil though. That is something I have noticed. So if I was to pick purple, I could use from light purple all the way to dark purple on one page. And then the challenge with monochrome would be to vary your dark and your light purples so that you still get that contrast between your shadows, your highlights and that sort of thing, but still keeping to a very limited color palette. It can look really, really pretty when it's done well. I haven't done one. It would probably have to be a page. We could probably do a Hanna Karlzon page, or maybe something with flowers. You could do a mandala with it. I'm not a mandala colorer. Has anyone seen the flip through of Rita Berman's newest book? Okay, I want to bring in some light yellow ochre here onto the leaves. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil. Yeah, it does look awesome. I saw the flip through on Lucy Just Adds Color, Lucy's YouTube channel, and oh, it looks so beautiful. And I noticed that for those of you who do enjoy mandalas, Rita Berman has included a couple of mandalas in that book. Yeah, I'm waiting for Amazon to get their copy. Because I noticed that the book depository here in the UK doesn't seem to have prices too different from Amazon. And with Amazon Prime, I can get free shipping, so I quite like that. It does make it a bit more delayed. Yeah, I need to get Maria Trolle's Moon Valley. I'm just hoping I get on with it a bit more than Twilight Garden. Although maybe I just need to colour in Twilight Garden a bit more. I've noticed that, Carly. I watched the Colouring Heaven magazine Facebook group, and the people in the States are often saying that it takes a really long time for them to get their copies. Can't imagine that much frustration, especially when you're so excited to get a new book and to try it out, and then you have to wait. And the rest of the world gets it first. And then I'm going to bring in Burnt Sienna. So I used that Sanguine for a moment, and now I'm just bringing in the Burnt Sienna. Well, I see the same with me and my coloring stuff. I like to use what I buy and color in all of them. Because they're all so pretty, and I like them, and I like their pictures. I've only got, I think, 2 pencil sets that I really don't like coloring with, and that's the Derwent Artists and the Marco Raffines. I can't get used to the Marco Raffines. I find they don't layer or blend into each other as nicely as some of the other pencils. So what's everyone's favorite medium to color with? Emilia Oberg. I must still look her up. I don't think I've looked her up yet. Yes, Val. Polys are your favorite. It's nice to meet somebody who's so passionate about polys. You get quite a lot of people who love Prismacolors. I just love hearing what other people are interested in and enjoy, because I love how different we all are. Well done, JC. Good luck with watercolors. You're very brave. I think watercolors scare me. Ooh, Cindy, markers. I've only just started playing with markers as a base for some of my pages. And it really does help speed up the coloring process. I'm a pencil girl through and through. So I'm just building up the colors, and I'm just taking my time with this one. But if you do get tired of building up the layers, all you really need to do is just press a bit harder, and you'll get more pigment down, and then just watch out for your blending. Different pencils. JC, I don't know. I hear you when you say it's only paper. I think I get too attached, and then I think it's messing it up, really making a mess. It's making a mess that freaks me out. I'm like, I hate making a mess. I've had to actually teach myself that mistakes are okay. So I'm alternating between my browns and my reds. So I'm using Burnt Sienna here. If we go under the eye here, just a little bit. And then I'm going to bring in some terracotta. And I'm going to blend this out. I hear you, JC. So I'm just carrying on with that terracotta, and I'm going back and forth and just building up the layers. So last weekend we had one of the boys sick with what turned out to be, or I still think was, a tummy bug. And now I've caught the tummy bug, which is partly why I'm going slow tonight, because I'm not like stuck bedridden in pain or anything, but I'm just sluggish. So I thought if we do a color along and just take it slow, then it should work quite well. Okay, I'm going to bring out now a bit of a ivory I love this pencil. And I want to start blending these highlighted areas out a bit more. I think what I like with this particular pencil, it's light enough to be a blending pencil, but it doesn't create that milky effect that a white pencil can often do. What we could do to sparkle him up, if you would like, is we can always get out the glitter, the glue glitter, and just smother him in glitter. And then he can look shiny. Carly, what pencil sharpener do you use for your prismas? So now I'm going to bring out my light yellow ochre, and I want to blend this side out. Now what I'm busy thinking of doing is actually creating the frame a nice orange red. Okay, cool. I've tried an electric sharpener on some of my pencils, but it doesn't have that setting where it automatically stops after a certain point. So when I got my prismas, I got nervous to use it too much and waste my prismas. So I heard that the to-go was quite a popular option, and I went for that, but you have to replace it every 6 months or so. And they're about £7 each to replace, which I think, well, I don't know if that's really economical. So I went back to the ivory. So I'm just, right now I'm alternating between the light yellow ochre, very light layers, and the ivory, because I'm trying to blend out some of this area here. So it's not like a line. I don't like hard lines. And I think up here needs a bit more color. I don't want to give him too much color because I think he looks quite cute with a slightly lighter buttock area. Imagine mushrooms growing from your lower back. It's really a novel idea. Oh, sorry, Val. The frame in orange red. So it's more red than orange, but it has an orange undertone. And then we can work to make it quite vibrant. And now I want to get out my warm grey 6. Yes, he does have a fungus problem. It's just, you know, if you had, because you have bioluminescence fungus, you get some of them. So if I was going for a fungal problem, I would want to grow bioluminescence on my antlers instead of my buttocks. So at least that way it could work as a bit of a torch at night. The mushrooms, Val, I have no idea right now. I'm trying to keep to a limited color palette. They could be brown. We could make them brown and with red dots and completely transform them. Initially I was thinking of doing them like your fly, is it fly agaric? I don't know, the red ones with the white dots, but we can change it. We can do it more brown, and we could add white dots or gold dots. It's can be anything we want it to be, really. We just ideally want to just stick within our color palette, so these very earthy tones. Now I think red will complement these earthy tones well. Autumnal reds, browns, oranges, yellows. You could add greens if you wanted to. It depends on how limited you want to make it. Now, if you change the frame, you could do the frame gold, which would be similar to the deer. You could have, instead of a bright red, you could do a very dark red. So you could do a dark red frame with more these warm grey kind of tones in it. So you could do that, because you are right, the mushrooms wouldn't stand out. So what we need to decide is, the deer is probably needing to be more your focal point. So we could do a very dark frame. We could do a gold frame. We don't have to do a red frame. It could be black or dark browns and dark grays. Okay, you'll have to wait for me to go and Google psychedelic mushrooms. Okay, wait, hang on. Psychedelic mushrooms. Which I get on my Google, psilocybin mushrooms, which are brown. Is that right? Which, yeah, those could work. If those are the mushrooms you're referring to, Val. Oh, I found another one here, which has got more yellows into browny oranges. We could do that. Something similar to glow in the dark. So in that case, we would want bioluminescence mushrooms. Bioluminescent mushrooms, which are quite a bright green. So if I get my swatch book out, for bioluminescence you would need some of these yellows, because you need it quite, so probably a cream to an ivory, and then you would go into your light green, so anywhere from chrome oxide green fiery down to probably grass green or leaf green. You would use a combination of those greens depending on how dark green you want your bioluminescent mushrooms to look. So if I look on Google and I just type in bioluminescent fungi UK, I get a whole lot of articles, and I get one with quite a light green to light ivory or cream. And then if I look at a different one, I get a very more the chrome oxide green fiery emerald green into a bit of maybe grass green. So those are two of the bioluminescent options you would have. Something like that, what you're after. So I'm just carrying on with this warm grey. Don't worry, we'll think of something. I'll think of something. It will come together one way or the other. And then if I bring in the ivory, I can blend the hooves together. there's so many different types of mushrooms. I've seen mushrooms, these yellow colors before. I've seen red mushrooms, brownie gray mushrooms, so your warm gray. I love walking through the woods during autumn and seeing all the different mushrooms. All right, now I'm going to bring in the ivory and go over here. And I want some more terracotta. And some light yellow ochre. Then the ivory. So if I take the light yellow ochre and I start pulling it up, because the other thing we've got to think about with the mushrooms is it's growing out of the deer. So at the very least, its stalks need to have some of the similar colors. Otherwise it's going to look unnatural and it won't make sense. Hello Tanya, so nice to see you. Yes, we could color them with the same color combo, Val. I don't see it being an issue. Yes, you could do orange mushrooms. I mean, at the moment, this is the colors we've got picked out. Oh, and of course you've got your ivory for light to help you light. So we've got the orange in the sanguine and the terracotta, and then you've got the yellows and you've got some browns, and we can always stick to that one. So yeah, it's totally possible and doable. I'm going to come in with some green gold. I'm actually lost with his eye here. from brown to reddish brown to purple. Where would you put the purple, Val? So here underneath the mushrooms, these mushrooms are hanging down, so underneath here is going to be more dark than on top. So, and then it's going to cover the stalks here. So if we put a little bit of brown, now we can erase this. I'm just putting a light layer down. You could use do that, yeah. I don't see it being an issue. I can't visualize the shade of purple, so I'm not sure how it would look. So sometimes when I can't visualize something, it's my brain just goes but then if I see something and it makes sense, then I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's how we do it. But then if you add purple to the mushrooms, you would probably need to bring purple somewhere to the leaves to balance it. Otherwise you're going to have, or you'd have to have purple somewhere in the mirror section or the background just to bring it in, so it's not completely on its own. So I'm using the Dyk Brown. Sorry, I'm just looking at the colors you've suggested. Okay, red violet could definitely work. Okay, I'm with you, Val. Yeah. All right. What I'll do is I'll color one mushroom, and then we can see if it works, and then we can, if it doesn't work, just erase it. Give me 1 sec. I just want to get the pencils out. So we have red violet and burnt carmine. Kali, if I do it in one go, it will go over a 2-hour live video, which I'm happy to do if everybody's okay with that. Otherwise, it will be done in 2 videos because it is quite a easy page. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the terracotta. So this is just my layer to help build the color up from the deer into the suggested colors for the mushrooms. Oh, it's a pleasure, Cully. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon. Thanks for joining. Okay, so you have your reddish brown, and then you're going into purple. So this is your burnt carmine. I would use a warm grey to deepen it as well, and then just go over the warm grey with the purple. So then I've got the red violet. And then the burnt carmine. If you bring in the red violet, so we bring this down. And then put some more of that warm grey. You get the ivory. Then burnt carmine. Red violet. and back to the red carmine. Some warm grey. The burnt carmine. So I'm just alternating between the grey, burnt carmine and the red violet. And then the ivory. And then under here I would do Dyk Brown. We do some warm grey 6. It's nice to have you, Tanya. I'm from the UK, but originally actually from South Africa. Alright, I'm just bringing in a bit more black because I really want to define right at the top here. Here we go with the burnt carmine. And the red violet. So there you go. That's more or less how I would interpret Val's color palette. So I'm using the red carmine just down here on these stems. Well, it does work. I do like it. And I'm really, really glad that you suggested the exact pencils, because when you said purple, I didn't think reddish purple. I thought pinky purple or purple purple. Okay, so Van Dyk Brown. How was France, Tanya? Hope you had a really great time. Oh goodness, that must have been so hot. We were all really finding the heat quite stifling. Oh, I missed one. All right, so now warm grey 6. Yes, not having an aircon in so much heat would be quite an experience. Really puts aircons into perspective. Okay, so now let's take Burnt Carmine, and we're just going to lightly put in our base layer. So Tonya, how long have you been doing adult coloring? Oh, thank you, Tonya. Thanks for sharing your lunch break with us. We really appreciate you being here. And I hope that you have a good day and that your weekend is also a really great one. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the red violet. So what I've noticed with these mushrooms, they're stacking on top of each other. So where I place my highlight is going to change depending on where the mushrooms are lying. So I'm also trying to just vary where everything goes, so it doesn't look all the same and boring. Well, Tonya, I hope you have more time and we'd love to see more of you. Alright, so back to my burnt carmine. So I thought when this page is done, we could do a page in Christine Caron's volume 2 of her fairies, the grayscale one. And then we could have a go at coloring portraits, coloring grayscale, and practicing on Amazon paper. So now I'm going to bring my warm grey and I'm just going to deepen my shadows. And I don't really need to press too hard because I don't want to make it too strong. I want to just blend them in. And then I'm going to go over that with my red violet. And I'm just going to alternate between these three colors and build up the mushrooms. And then I'll move back onto the underside of the mushrooms. I'm just going to bring in some of the ivory. So have you been watching any color alongs on YouTube? Anything interesting that you've been doing or learning? Any new techniques you've learned? So now I'm back to Burnt Carmine. Yeah, color alongs are great to learn new things. Although sometimes I find there are color alongs for specific things I want to color. That it's sometimes hard to find. you know, like food, or but sometimes it's specific food, and that's when I tend to research the how to draw realistic food or stuff, because I find sometimes that's the only way I can find how to actually color something I want. I'm with you, JC. I think I tend to do that as well, probably more than color along a whole color along. I find some of them, like I've done portrait color alongs, which has really helped to learn how to color a portrait. But I tend to watch, get the idea, and then try. And if I really get stuck, then I will go to the color along. But I do like color alongs because I think, you know, they're all planned out for you, and especially if you have the colors that they're using. Or the pencils that they're using, it does help. Okay, so back in with my burnt carmine, and I'm just going to very lightly go over the bits where I want my highlight, because I don't want a very white highlight. I want it to have some color. This is a lovely color combination. I really like it. I like how easily they blend together as well. So I'm come back in with that ivory. And what I've been using a lot in these mushrooms is that circular motion. It really helps to blend your layers together, blend your tones into each other. Okay, so now I'm coming in with the Dyk Brown. I'm just building the layers underneath here. And then I'm going to bring in my black. I just want a really sharp point just to get into these smaller nooks and crannies, and also just redefine the drawings. I find that helps keep the image crisp. So this is something you can do with your pictures. As you get to the end of whatever you are coloring, is just look carefully and see which areas do you need to redefine the black lines. And that doesn't mean you need to have thick black lines, but you just want to redefine it so you've got that clear distinction between, say, the tip of this mushroom and underneath it. So I'm taking my ivory and I'm just going to blend this bit out here at the bottom, and then I'll go over it again with the Dyk Brown. And I'm using a medium to hard pressure because I don't really need to put thousands of layers onto this. I just need a little bit of color variation. And then I go over it again with my Dyk Brown. And all I'm doing is I'm just blending out my very lightest bits into my shadowed area. And then if I bring my eraser and just tidy up the inside of these circles. we want a bit more grey down here. And put a little bit of the burnt carmine in here. And then blend that out with some terracotta. I need a bit of burnt carmine down here. And a bit of Burnt Sienna. And then we can blend them with the Ivory. Yes, we can do the same color combo for the leaves. And I was thinking the stem part, we can do a very brown. So your warm grays, your Burnt Sienna and Van Dyk Brown. And I would possibly do a bit of yellow ochre into the stems. Or maybe ivory, we'll see. Oh, thanks, JC. Val, I'm glad that you like your mushrooms. Okay, so let's think. We bring in Burnt Sienna. So I'm going to use this very lightly. Now for the background, I'm not sure what color you would do because it is a limited color palette. So, but an option could be to do blues, and then I've got gold acrylic paints, and you could do splatter it with gold acrylic paints. I'm not sure about the background right now. Bye, JC. Have a great weekend and a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining. It's always so lovely to have you. Okay, then we've got the Van Dyk Brown. So we're going to come in and place some more shadow. So I was thinking the tips could be quite dark. So that was the Van Dyk Brown, and then I've got the warm grey here. And then go back over that with the Van Dyk Brown. And then if we have the yellow ochre, the Burnt Sienna, then the yellow ochre, so it would be something like that. This is the warm grey 6. The yellow ochre, there you go. Is that better? This is the warm grey 6 now. All right, now the Dyk Brown. Okay, now the light yellow ochre. And a bit of that burnt carmine. So if you could pick an artist to color and spend a day with, who would you pick? Okay, I'm just going to use the ivory here just to try and blend some of this together. Ooh, Rita Berman, that's a good one. She's got amazing taste when it comes to her color combinations. Some more of that yellow ochre. Ah, Lulu Mayo. What do you like about Lulu Mayo, Val? And then the ivory, because I'm trying to just blend this all out. And also the ivory knocks down that yellow ochre. So I'm going to come back in with some Dyk Brown. Yes, her creatures are cute. She does have a very beautiful and unique style. Very whimsical. Almost innocent as well, which I quite like. Yes, that is true. I didn't realize there were such few color alongs for Lulu Mayo. She seems really popular amongst coloring in the coloring world. So I am surprised that there aren't a lot of color alongs for her books. Well, I can definitely look at trying to do one of those Lulu Mayo freebies I'm still not sure her style's the kind I would want to go and buy. I'm still on the fence about it. But if there's one of the freebies you sent me, if you haven't colored one of them in, or you tell me which ones you haven't colored, I can pick one from there and then we do a color along for you. Oh, cool, Cindy. That's great to know that Zucchini Kitty does some. She does quite a large variety of color alongs. She's amazing. I remember watching a lot of Zucchini Kitty's color along videos. She just makes it look so easy, and she's relatively quick as well, but her color combinations, and she's really good at that limited palette as well, which absolutely amazes me. And her distress ink work, my goodness, she's like the distress ink queen. All right, back to that ivory. Because it just makes it look pretty. I like the slightly muted back effect the ivory is giving. But if you don't like the effect of the ivory, you can always leave it out and have more of a stronger yellow ochre look to your antlers. Okay, so it's 22 minutes past 10. I can keep going and do the leaves, or I can stop and we can do, we can finish it off at our next live. Which means I won't add this to my list of whips. I've tried distress inks. I just don't get it the way, not at all, Val, I don't mind. We can definitely carry on in the next live. And then I'll give a think about background and how to do the mirror as well. And then we should be able to finish this off in the next live. I might go and add some more layers to the deer, or I might not. We'll see how it goes. And I need to rethink the eye. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope that you have a lovely weekend and that it is relaxing. And I will see you in the next video. And I will also be doing the completed monthly video as well. So I'll see you there. Take care, everyone, and have a great weekend.